Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. This is Joel Perez here of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and breaking news has just dropped, and it has to do with NXT Takeover Houston going on Survivor Series weekend in November, and it has to do with WCW, because WWE apparently seems to be bringing back multiple WCW concepts and pay-per-views. You've already seen they're putting on a house show called Starrcade, clearly the name of WWE's flagship WrestleMania type show, the biggest show that WCW had. They're making it a house show, which clearly isn't doing justice to Starrcade, but that is a topic for another time, because news has just dropped that WWE is bringing back War Games at NXT Takeover Houston, and I cannot be more delighted to hear that, because that was a fantastic, unique match concept, was War Games, and clearly NXT being fantastic when it comes to booking and just absolutely compelling you into their storylines, and not to mention the phenomenal roster that they have in their clutches right now is totally going to do the War Games concept justice. The news just dropped. Ryan Satin reported it on ProWrestlingSheet.com, and here's the article. It began with Starrcade, and now it's continuing with NXT War Games, because the company announced on Wednesday that the famous match will take place at NXT Takeover Houston. The announcement was made at the NXT TV tapings when William Regal said the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly, Sanity, Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane, and the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, with Roderick Strong, which that kind of strikes me off guard there. We'll discuss that in a little bit. But they would face off in a War Games match. For those unfamiliar, the match features two rings, both surrounded by two steel cages. As we first reported, the company has been interested in bringing back successful WCW properties for live events and network specials. That got confirmed when Starrcade was announced a couple weeks back, and now we are getting another pay-per-view or concept coming from WCW, and that is Starrcade. This is Starrcade War Games. There you go. War Games, and I have seen a couple War Games matches. Really have never been that big with WCW, but War Games was always a concept that piqued my interest, and I'm like, that looks cool. Now, I've never been one to really understand the rules of the matchup. I saw one, I believe Sting was the head of one team and Ric Flair was the head of the other. One of those War Games matches, I believe it was in the late 80s, early 90s, around there for WCW, and they were doing a War Games match. And I was watching it on the WWE Network, and it was a cool concept. All the things you can do in that environment. Yeah, you were having superstars climbing the steel cage, because it's not as elevated a steel cage, at least it wasn't in WCW. It's not as elevated a steel cage as what you would usually see in the WWE. The roof was very low. It's a closed steel cage, like a Hell in a Cell almost. It is a closed steel cage, but the roof is a lot lower, right? So it was very interesting how they would be able to climb the cage almost like a monkey, right? And they'd use that in the match. It was a very interesting match type. It was a very interesting matchup, and especially with this faction storyline you have going on here between, at least for now, at least for what we're seeing right now on NXT television, with the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly, and Sanity. Authors of Pain seemingly going to be a part of that very soon, because this was announced at an NXT taping. I was watching NXT here tonight we saw a fantastic match between Drew McIntyre and Roderick Strong. And at the end, Roderick Strong failed to capture the NXT Championship. At the end, Adam Cole came, and he was kind of like, you're with us, Roderick. And Roderick was like kind of in a disarray, not being able to decide himself whether or not he was going to join Adam Cole, because clearly those men have history. Ring of Honor, Roderick Strong was in Ring of Honor, and clearly Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly have been in Ring of Honor. So that's kind of where the storyline is coming from here. And I guess that is where we will see Roderick Strong take a side, not with Sanity, not with the Undisputed Era, but with the Authors of Pain. So I guess he's going to be like, you know what? Fuck you, and fuck you too. I'm going with these guys. And I mean, the Authors of Pain, that's not a bad choice if you ask me, considering the size of those guys. So I mean, this is going to be very exciting. What those teams can do inside a War Games matchup is definitely going to be freaking unique, and I cannot wait to see what they will come up with for this War Games matchup. So glad that NXT is putting this on, because NXT is going to do this justice. NXT is going to do this justice. If you saw this on a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown for a Survivor Series, it probably would not have been given the justice that it should be given. Now we're going to have to continue watching NXT television going forward to see the actual announcement of this match play out. But right now, I'm excited through the very fact that we're seeing this War Games matchup, this storyline, you see where it's coming from, what they're going to be fighting for. Will they be fighting for the NXT Championships? Now that is something that is very interesting, and I'm thinking, yeah, you kind of see Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly going for the NXT Championship and doing the Freebird rule since they're a stable. The Sanity is already holding the titles. They're doing the Freebird rule, right? I believe. But Roderick Strong joining the Authors of Pain as an official faction, that would make me believe that it's kind of not for the NXT Championship, and it's just really a grudge match. So I don't know where they're going with this, but this is definitely going to be interesting to see how they are going to handle this. Are the two rings going to be there for the entire NXT TakeOver show? I mean, one would presume that they would be side by side with the two rings. How is that going to work? How is that going to work? I do not know how it worked in the old WCW pay-per-views. I would presume that both rings were there the entire night, and that's the way it would have to go. If there was a singles match on that show, you wouldn't be able to use the two rings, and it would only be in one. So I don't know how that's going to work, but it's definitely going to be an interesting sight. War Games at NXT TakeOver Houston. NXT once again making it, as of now, just from the announcement of this match, NXT TakeOver Houston is looking better than the Survivor Series, which is a dual-branded pay-per-view, a Big Four pay-per-view for the WWE, and NXT seems to do that every time we see a dual-branded pay-per-view and an NXT TakeOver the same weekend, or a pay-per-view and an NXT TakeOver that same weekend. They seem to do better than the main roster, leagues and bounds better than the main roster, each and every single time. And it seems that they're going to do the same thing here again. Is NXT War Games, NXT TakeOver Houston. So glad this is happening, because this, if any WCW concept, if I had to pick what WCW, if I can speak here, if what WCW concept was going to come back, I would choose War Games. I would choose War Games, and they're doing it in NXT, and that only puts a bigger smile on my face. So that is the news, ladies and gentlemen. War Games coming to NXT TakeOver Houston. This is the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure to go check out all the other content. Over 250 videos for all of you to go check out. Raw and SmackDown reviews for this week are up on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, so make sure to go check those out. Preview and predictions coming tomorrow, Thursday, around the afternoon, evening time, so you can expect that there. Hell in a Cell preview and predictions, and of course Hell in a Cell review this Sunday after that show goes off the air, and of course Behind the Mic each and every single Saturday, where where we cover all the biggest news in the WWE. This is kind of like a little behind the mic extra breaking news story right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. For now, if you enjoyed what you heard here, make sure to leave a like. If you enjoy the content of the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, we cover everything regarding the WWE. Make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel and comment down in the comment section below what you think of this news. War Games coming to NXT Takeover Houston. For now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Joel Perez of the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, and I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I will see you all tomorrow for your NXT Takeover, I wish, for your WWE Hell in a Cell preview and predictions.